All right, Lambo's Water Sports featuring the big brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Florida State is back. All right, they beat Clemson for the first time since 2014, since Jimbo Fisher, before Jameis Winston, I think, got drafted. When they were, legit back then. Florida State was a very good team. They fell off ever since the Jimbo Fisher departure. All right, they weren't good. There was questions about the program and Mike Norvell. He was supposed to be on the hot seat last year when Florida State was 4-0. They were 4-3. They won 6 straight, and now, as of now, they won 10 straight, dating back to last season. Ladies and gentlemen, Clemson played a very good game, but Florida State didn't quit. All right, Florida State's a team. They kept fighting. They kept fighting. There was a play in the third quarter where K. Club needs to read the field a lot better. You couldn't read a safety blitz or a corner blitz, excuse me. You couldn't read a corner blitz from all the way on the other side of the field, and he got hit. Number 4, number 5, whoever hit him perfectly. He hit him perfectly where the ball came out, and that was the momentum of the game for Florida State because, like I said, Florida State defense was kind of getting torched by Clemson offense and Garrett Riley, who was getting better, but at the same time, the only team that put up 7 points against Duke, which was in my concern. So they kept fighting. They kept fighting. Florida State offense did struggle, but they made the plays when it mattered. But I was very impressed by their defense, and for the overtime win, they had the matchup that they wanted. All right, they had the matchup they wanted, and Florida State pulls off the victory at Clemson. All right, go ahead and break this game down. Should we be 100% sold on Florida State? And what the hell is wrong with Clemson?
I'm 100% sold on the fact that they're like a top team, but I don't know if I'm sold on them being, that replacement from Clemson of the past, and, being a constant representative in the college football playoff. They played well enough to win, but they needed help from the defense, which every team does, obviously. But we can't just act like the Florida State offense was cooking. They had 22 yards as a team rushing, 1.1 yard per carry. That's not good. Jordan Travis did not play like a top 5 quarterback in the country. He was barely above 50% throwing the ball. He did, 2 touchdowns in a game where your offense, didn't score too much. And, it was really that fumble recovery to the end zone that won them the game, in my opinion. Obviously they had to go to overtime, but like you were saying, that's when the momentum completely flipped. And I agree 100%. They allow FSU to come back because of that. They go to overtime. Florida State, obviously wins the game. So I'm not sold on Florida State being, like a top team that could, beat almost anybody, because they've had 2 weeks in a row now. Now, obviously this week, Clemson is still a good team. They still have good players. They're just not doing everything right on the field. But last week we saw FSU almost blow it to Boston College. So it's just a little concerning to me how close some of these games are when you think it should be very lopsided. This one, I didn't think it was going to be completely lopsided, but I did not expect overtime. I thought they would win by 10 points. Clemson, I don't know what the answer is for them. They need, I agree, Scott. They need to find a QB. He played fine. But obviously it wasn't enough. But statistically, I think he had a better game than Jordan Travis. He had a touchdown in the air, one on the ground. It's just not. I don't know, dude. I don't know what the answer is for these guys. I don't know.
All right. Well, I can't blame you because Clemson is up and down. Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Klubnik has only played in 5 games, or I think 5-6 games dating to last season, because DJ Lululega was replaced, I think, the second before the last game of the year. I know it was right before the Orange Bowl last year. All right. He's getting used to it. But I think for high expectations for Clemson fans, it's like one of these types of games that they're not supposed to lose. And this game was tough for them. The play calling was very sketchy in overtime. I guess he doesn't understand situational football at times because at times he'll take a sack, at times he'll run backwards. Now that's just in general. He didn't do all that against Florida State. That's from what I've seen from me watching closer to Clemson since last year. That's what he does. This year, the play calling, I'm not sure if Garrett Riley has control in the play calling or Dabo has control in the play calling. There were some things. The offense is not well clicked. Will Shipley did get his touches, but the wide receivers are not on the same page. They don't, like I said, I'm gonna keep saying it. They don't have a DeAndre Hopkins or Mike Williams. They don't have that. They don't have a Hunter Renfrow. They just don't have that. All right. I don't know who their best receiver core is because they don't have one. It looks like it's just Phil Mafia, Will Shipley, and Cade Klubnik. That's really your best three guys on the team. And your defense is, not the same, but it did well against a high-powered Florida State offense. My play call in overtime where he thought it was a first down and they threw a screen 3 yards behind and they got stuffed. So I'm not sure if he knew what down it was, but that right there, that very crucial down, is what really cost him the game right there. Not knowing and not understanding the situation as a quarterback. How do you not understand what down it is? Take your time and look, all right? It's overtime. You have 4 downs. There's no clock running, all right? You have play clock, but there's no actual game clock running in overtime for the rules of college football. So I feel like in situations he gets tense. He doesn't really know, what the situation is on the field sometimes, and he gets really loose running the ball sometimes. So Clemson had a chance. I think the momentum fell off. Florida State is a fourth quarter team. They're an overtime team. So like I said, when the game gets really tight, Florida State does what Florida State does. But for Clemson, their college football playoff hopes are over. They're over. 2-2. It was over when they lost to Duke. I mean, that's a bad loss. All right. Despite them winning, they still struggle. All right. They just need a lot of help. The offensive line needs help too. I don't know what else to say about Clemson. Like I said, they're 2-2 for the first time since 2001. Since 2021 when DJ Uiagalelei was a starter. All right. Now they're in a situation they're at 2-2. They have a chance to win the rest of the games, but like I said, they played Notre Dame November 4th, and Notre Dame beat the crap out of them. So I think Notre Dame will beat them again, and I think Notre Dame will learn from this Ohio State game as well, where when you put your team down, you got to beat them. So I have high hopes for Clemson. I did, but it's more concerns than praises. Now, I think Dabo Swinney is a great coach, but you got to figure out if you want to call the plays that Garrett Riley calls the plays, because last year you let go of your OC after 1 year. So there's some conflict that we may not know about, and I'm not judging him as a man, but just from the football aspect, there's a lot of more frustration coming out of him because the offense is just definitely not damn cooking. It's not even close. So Clemson, they'll probably be second. They may have a chance to maybe squeak in the ACC championship game just because I think there's no divisions. I guess they did it whoever the top 2 teams are, I guess it's like no divisions anymore. So they have a chance that they win the rest of their games and hope somebody like UNC slips up like the last 3 games of the season. I don't see that happening, but we never know with college football. But in order for Clemson to compete in the ACC championship game, they're going to have to win the rest of the games. I don't see that. I see them losing at least 1 more game, maybe 2. One of them will be to Notre Dame, and one of them might be to South Carolina if they somewhat improve. But Florida State, I'm sold on them for this season. Now, when Jordan Travis leaves and gone, we might have to reevaluate that. But I'm sold on them possibly playing for the college football playoff. I am sold on them because they have a real easy schedule, and one of them is Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech has no damn chance to beat Florida State.
I'm aware. That is a sad truth. Sad truth, but I'm fully aware. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't meaning to, say I'm completely out on Florida State being one of those Final Four teams. I just the inconsistencies in 2 straight weeks of, just letting teams and Clemson's different. This is like a rivalry game. It's gonna be close. I get that. But like this Clemson team is not the Clemson teams that have been whooping their ass for 10 years or whatever. This, like we've talked about it enough, but so that just and the BC ugly win last week, it just rubs me a little bit in the wrong direction. But I still think that they're the best team in the ACC, like by a pretty good margin in my eyes. So yeah, I could still see them getting there. I definitely think they'll be playing in the ACC championship game. I can't imagine two teams would do better than them unless they fall apart like they did last year, kind of. So, I didn't want to mean that I'm completely out when I say I'm not sold, but yeah, I don't know if they're going to be like, if they get to the college football playoff, I'm not completely trusting that it's not just going to be one of the like ugly blowouts that we see. And I swear like 75% of the college football playoff games, they end up just being ass whoopings. So, who knows? They'll win the ACC and Clemson's got to figure it the hell out. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. We'll figure that out. They'll figure that out in the next couple weeks going forward. Next, before we talk about our college team, MattPatt, by the way, not to rub it in his face, but just to be honest, he does regret the Ole Miss pick, by the way, which I was right about the Alabama pick. I'm like, look, Jalen Monroe, he played a little bit better. He did struggle a little bit. He did throw that bad interception in the red zone, which ticked me off a little bit. But Alabama won by running the ball and playing defense. Lane Kiffin was disappointed. They played hard, but they had a chance to win. It was 7-6 at halftime. And like I said, Lane Kiffin's a great coach. I'm not questioning his coaching, his recruiting ability. But every time Ole Miss plays Alabama, they find ways to lose. And they find a way to lose this game. So we will talk about that in the next episode of Lambo's Water